What I Know for Sure, by Oprah Winfrey. Introduction. Picture this. You're flying 40,000 feet over the vast, empty expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Below you, there is nothing but deep blue water for thousands of miles. You've just settled in, maybe pulled out a book or started thinking about lunch. Everything is calm, normal. And then, a flight attendant leans over and says, with a calmness that doesn't quite match her words, "There's a slight crack in the windshield. We're going to have to turn around." A crack? In the windshield? At 40,000 feet? Before you can process that, she adds, the captain wants you to strap yourselves in and be ready for oxygen masks. Suddenly, your mind is racing. Oxygen masks. Danger. The endless ocean below. And a clock on the wall that seems to be ticking slower than your own pounding heart. This isn't a scene from a movie. This was a real moment in Oprah Winfrey's life. A moment of pure, unadulterated fear. In that kind of chaos, what can a person possibly hold on to? What can you know for sure when everything you thought was solid is suddenly cracking? That question, what do you know for sure, is the very heart of the book we're exploring today, What I Know for Sure. It's a question that was first posed to Oprah years earlier by a film critic, and it stopped her in her tracks. She didn't have an answer then. But over the next 16 years, she made finding the answers her life's work, exploring it every month in her column for the Oprah magazine. This book is the culmination of that journey. It's not a memoir in the traditional sense. It's something far more valuable. It's a collection of personal revelations, a private book of wisdom earned through struggle, heartache, and incredible joy. It's a treasure chest of life's most essential lessons, shared by a woman who has reached the pinnacle of success, yet never stopped seeking the truth in the quiet moments of her own life. By the end of our time together today, you will have discovered the simple, powerful truths that took Oprah decades to learn. These aren't just feel-good platitudes. They are battle-tested principles for navigating life with grace, courage, and a deep sense of your own worth. They are the anchors you can hold on to when the windshield of your own life starts to crack. So, get comfortable, and let's uncover what one of the wisest women of our time knows for sure. Book summary. To truly understand the wisdom in this book, we have to start where all great stories begin, at the beginning. Not the beginning of Oprah's fame, but the beginning of her life, a life that started with very little certainty at all. She was born in rural Mississippi, conceived in a single encounter that was not a romance. Her arrival was unplanned, marked not by celebration, but by secrecy and shame. From her earliest days, she felt a profound sense of loneliness. Not necessarily being alone. There were always people around, but a deep, internal knowing that her soul's survival depended entirely on her. She felt she would have to fend for herself. This feeling was compounded by years of sexual abuse that began when she was just a young girl. That trauma left a deep wound, a feeling of unworthiness that she would carry for decades. It became a dark secret she hid from the world, a constant source of fear and shame. She was terrified that if anyone found out, they would expel her from their lives. This is the foundation we must understand. The wisdom in this book wasn't born in a television studio or a beautiful home. It was forged in the fire of a difficult childhood. And the first, and perhaps most important thing she knows for sure is this: healing the wounds of the past is your responsibility, and yours alone. For years, she carried the shame of her abuse and a secret teenage pregnancy that ended in the loss of her baby. She believed that if people knew the truth, she would be rejected. Then, one day, a family member sold the story to the tabloids. Her deepest secret was exposed to the world. She was devastated, betrayed, and she hid in her room, crying for days. She expected the world to point its finger and shame her. But a funny thing happened. Nothing. Strangers didn't stare. Friends didn't abandon her. The world didn't end. And in that silence, she had a profound realization. The secret itself was never the true burden. The shame she had attached to it was. Holding on to that shame was like carrying a mountain on her back. And when the secret was finally out, the mountain crumbled. She was, for the first time, free. This is a powerful lesson for all of us. We all have things in our past we might be ashamed of. mistakes we've made, or wounds that were inflicted upon us. Oprah's journey teaches us that you cannot wait for someone else to come and heal you or give you permission to be happy. You must be fearless enough to give yourself the love you may not have received. As she says, there is one irrefutable law of the universe. We are each responsible for our own life. If you're holding anyone else accountable for your happiness, you're wasting your time. The power to heal, to grow, and to move forward is, and always has been, in your hands. Once you take responsibility for your own healing, you open the door to something truly wonderful: joy. For Oprah, joy isn't a passive thing that just happens to you. It's an active choice. It's a conscious decision to feast on your life, as the poet Derek Walcott wrote. And one of the most vivid stories she tells about this choice involves the legendary Tina Turner. The first time Tina Turner appeared on her show, Oprah was so mesmerized she dreamed of being one of her backup dancers. Years later, that dream came true. For one night in Los Angeles, for 5 minutes and 27 seconds, she got to dance on stage with Tina. She remembers being completely terrified, her knees shaking, her mind frantically trying to remember the steps: step, step, turn, kick. She was so focused on getting it right, so self-conscious, that she was missing the experience entirely. And then, a thought dawned on her. Okay, girl, this is going to be over soon, and if I don't loosen up, I will miss the fun. In that instant, she made a choice. She threw her head back, forgot about the steps, and just danced. She let go of the fear of looking foolish and embraced the pure, exhilarating joy of the moment. Later, her mentor, the great Maya Angelou, sent her a CD of a song with a line that would become a mantra for her life: "When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance." This story is a beautiful metaphor for life itself. Every single day, we are presented with that choice. We can either stand by the wall, receding into the shadows of fear and self-doubt, worried about what others will think, or we can step onto the dance floor of our own lives and live fully. And this isn't about grand, once-in-a-lifetime moments. Oprah emphasizes the importance of creating what she calls 5-star pleasures and awe moments every single day. For her, a 5-star pleasure can be as simple as waking up and being able to walk to the bathroom, something many people can't do, or a walk through the woods with her dogs unleashed. A 4-star pleasure might be a strong cup of coffee with a perfect creamer. The point is to consciously tune in to the small delights that are all around us. We often get so wrapped up in our to-do lists and our worries that we forget to actually enjoy ourselves. We live in a state of numbness, driving home from work without remembering the journey. But what Oprah knows for sure is that pleasure is energy reciprocated. What you put out comes back. When you actively look for things to be grateful for, you start to find them everywhere. This leads us to one of the most powerful tools she shares: the practice of gratitude. For a full decade, without fail, she kept a gratitude journal, writing down 5 things she was grateful for every single day. Then, as life got busier and more overwhelming, the ritual started to slip away. Years later, she noticed that even though she had accumulated more wealth, more possessions, and more success, her happiness hadn't grown with it. She had become one of those people too busy doing to have time for delighting. Looking back at an old journal entry from 1996, she saw a list of simple joys: a run on a breezy day, eating cold melon in the sun, a hilarious chat with her best friend, Gail. It was a wake-up call. She realized that in 1996, she was just as busy, but she had made gratitude a priority. She went through her day looking for things to be grateful for, and something always showed up. She tells a profoundly moving story about a time she was on the phone with Maya Angelou, weeping uncontrollably over some problem that, today, she can't even remember. In the middle of her sobs, Maya's voice cut through the phone, sharp and clear. "Stop it. Stop it right now and say thank you." Oprah was confused. "Thank you? For what?" Maya explained. "You're saying thank you because your faith is so strong that you don't doubt that whatever the problem, you'll get through it. You're saying thank you because you know that even in the eye of the storm, God has put a rainbow in the clouds." That moment changed her perspective forever. Gratitude isn't just for the good times. It's a tool for the hard times. It's when you feel least thankful that you most need what gratitude can give you. Perspective. It shifts your energy from negative to positive. And as she so wisely puts it, what you focus on expands. When you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. This practice of finding the good extends to one of the most difficult areas for so many people: their relationship with their own bodies. For decades, Oprah was at war with herself, caught in a cycle of dieting, gaining, and feeling ashamed. She viewed her body through the prism of numbers on a scale. Then, after a series of unexplained heart palpitations, she had another awakening. She started thanking her heart for every beat, marveling at the miracle of a body that had worked so tirelessly for her despite her neglect. One evening, getting out of the tub, she looked in the mirror and, for the first time, didn't launch into her usual self-criticism. Instead, she felt a wave of gratitude for her strong shoulders, her bright eyes, the body she lived in. In that moment, she made a vow to love what she's got. This is the body she's been given. The journey isn't to struggle against it, but to make a loving and grateful peace with it. Now, you can't talk about joy and gratitude in Oprah's life without talking about the deep power of connection. At the very core of our being, she says, we all share one universal desire. We want to feel valued. We want to know that we matter. She learned this from thousands of interviews over the years. Whether she was talking to a mother in Topeka or a cheating husband, the underlying need was the same: to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. But here is the profound twist she discovered in her own life. That feeling of value, of being loved and completed, cannot be found outside of yourself. In her 20s, she based her entire self-worth on whether a man would love her. She was in twisted, messed up relationships, feeling more like a doormat than a person. She remembers once, in a moment of desperation, throwing a boyfriend's keys down the toilet to keep him from leaving her. She was so terrified of being alone because, without a man, she thought she was nothing. The great lesson she learned is that if you're looking for someone else to heal you or to shush that voice inside that whispers you're not enough, you will be looking forever. A lack of intimacy is not distance from someone else. It is disregard for yourself. You, alone, are a whole person. And if you feel incomplete, you alone must fill your own empty spaces with love. This is where true, authentic connection begins. It's not about finding your other half. It's about becoming whole yourself and then sharing that wholeness with others. Her friendship with Gayle King is a testament to this. They met in 1976, two young women at a TV station in Baltimore. Their friendship wasn't instantaneous, but it was built on mutual respect and support. It was solidified one snowy night when Gayle couldn't get home, and Oprah invited her to stay over. They stayed up the entire night talking, and they have talked every single day since. Through demotions, heartbreaks, and every imaginable challenge, Gayle has been her constant cheerleader, a friend who listens without judgment and shares in her pain and her triumphs without a hint of jealousy. Their cross-country road trip in a Chevy Impala is a hilarious and heartwarming example of their bond. 10 days in a cramped car, with disagreements over music and driving anxieties, could test any friendship. But they came out of it laughing. Their connection even stronger. It's a beautiful reminder that real friendship isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, being real, and surviving the bumpy roads together. Oprah also shares the deep connection she feels with her dogs. The story of adopting Sadie, the runt of the litter who whispered in her ear at the shelter, and then nursing her through the deadly parvovirus that took her brother, is a powerful lesson in unconditional love. Pets, she says, represent a connection to caring that is pure and reciprocal. But what happens when you have these foundations in place? Resilience, joy, gratitude, connection? Where do you go from there? You step into the world of possibility. This, for me, is where the book becomes a roadmap for an ambitious young person. It's about how to build a life of purpose and meaning. And the first step is to confront your greatest obstacle: fear. Oprah admits that for years, she lived in bondage to fear. Fear that people wouldn't like her. Fear that if she said no, she would be rejected. Fear of appearing arrogant. This last one started in the 3rd grade, when a teacher praised her book report and she heard classmates whisper, She thinks she's so smart. That comment lodged itself deep in her psyche, and for decades, she tried to downplay her own brilliance, to make herself smaller so others wouldn't feel threatened. She says that many of us, especially women, are taught to do this. We apologize for our accomplishments and settle for the passenger seat when we long to drive. But what she knows for sure is this: you are built not to shrink down to less, but to blossom into more. The naysayers in your life will always be there, whether you hide or shine. So stop paying attention to them. The key to overcoming fear is to understand that the thing you fear has no power. It is your fear that has the power. Each time you give into it, you lose strength, and the fear gains it. The true meaning of courage is to be afraid, and then, with your knees knocking, to step out anyway. She tells a story about a defining moment when she was working at a TV station in Baltimore. She got an offer to host a morning talk show in Chicago. It was a huge risk. Her boss sat her down and told her she was committing career suicide. He used every tactic he could to scare her into staying: more money, a new car, and finally, the threat, "You're going to fail." She didn't know if he was right. She didn't have the confidence to believe she could succeed. But somewhere, deep inside, she found the nerve to say, "You're right, but if they don't kill me, at least I'll keep growing." In that moment, she chose herself. She chose growth over safety. That one choice changed the entire trajectory of her life. This leads to another cornerstone of her philosophy: the power of intention. In 1989, she read a passage in a book that changed her life. It said that every action, thought, and feeling is motivated by an intention, and that intention is a cause that creates an effect. We are responsible for our intentions. This was a revelation. She realized that for years, her intention had been to please other people so they would like her. The unwanted consequence? She felt constantly used and taken advantage of. The problem wasn't other people. It was her own intention. So she made a change. She started asking herself one critical question before any decision: what is my real intention? Is it pure? Is it coming from a place of truth and love, or from a place of fear and neediness? This simple question is a powerful guide. It cured her of what she calls the disease to please. She learned that it was okay to say no. She wrote down a promise to herself that she now keeps on her desk: never again will I do anything for anyone that I do not feel directly from my heart. When you get clear about who you are and what you stand for, you no longer have anything to prove. You can stand and say, "This is who I am." Knowing your intention is what allows you to find your true work in the world. When she was 17, she got a job in radio making $100 a week, and she had a profound realization. She loved it so much, she would have done it for free. That feeling became her compass. She knew for sure that if you can get paid for doing what you love, every paycheck is a bonus. The adventure isn't about climbing the highest mountain. The biggest thrill you can ever achieve is to live the life of your dreams. Finally, Oprah brings all of these lessons together under the umbrella of power. But her definition of power has nothing to do with fame, status, or wealth. She says that authentic power occurs when your purpose aligns with your personality to serve the greater good. It's the kind of power that comes from the core of who you are. The secret is alignment. When you know for sure that you're on course and doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, you are at your most powerful. And a huge part of that power is the simple, sacred privilege of choice. She tells the story of Reverend Otis Moss Jr.'s father, a poor sharecropper in Georgia. In his 50s, he finally had the chance to vote for the first time in his life. On Election Day, he put on his best suit and walked 6 miles to the polls. When he got there, he was told he was in the wrong place. He walked another 5 or 6 miles to a second location, where he was met with the same denial. Finally, after walking more than 18 miles all day, he arrived at the third location, only to be told, "Boy, you are a little late. The polls just closed." He died before the next election, never having experienced the joy of casting his vote. Every time Oprah votes, she does it not just for herself, but for Otis Moss Sr. and for the countless others who were denied that right. Her message is clear: the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege. Use it. Dwell in possibility. This book is filled with so many more gems of wisdom about finding stillness in a chaotic world, about seeing miracles in the everyday, about decluttering your life both physically and metaphorically. But it all comes back to that central question: what do you know for sure? Oprah's journey shows us that the answers aren't found in a book or from a guru. They are found within. They are discovered in the quiet moments of reflection, in the courage to face your fears, in the discipline of gratitude, and in the joy of connection. Her life has been a testament to the idea that no matter where you start, you have the power to create a life of meaning, purpose, and profound happiness. You just have to be willing to do the work, to listen to that still, small voice inside, and to step boldly onto the dance floor of your own magnificent life. Commentary. As we come to the end of our journey through What I Know for Sure, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on why this collection of personal essays has resonated with millions of people around the world. In an age of quick fixes and complicated formulas for success, this book offers something refreshingly different: simple, honest, and timeless wisdom. The true power of Oprah's message lies in its accessibility. She doesn't present herself as a perfect guru on a mountaintop, but as a fellow traveler who has stumbled, fallen, and learned to get back up. Her struggles with weight, her feelings of unworthiness, her fear of rejection, these are universal human experiences. By sharing her vulnerability so openly, she gives us permission to be vulnerable too. She reminds us that our imperfections are not something to be hidden, but are often the very source of our greatest strength and empathy. The central theme, for me, is the shift from an external life to an internal one. So much of our world teaches us to look outside ourselves for validation, for happiness, for love, for a sense of worth. We chase titles, possessions, and the approval of others, hoping that one day we'll finally feel enough. Oprah's entire philosophy is a gentle but firm redirection of our gaze. She asks us to turn inward. The answers, she insists, are not out there. They are in here. Joy is not something you find, it's something you cultivate. Power is not something you acquire, it's something you align with. Love is not something you get, it's something you give, first and foremost, to yourself. This is a profound and life-altering shift in perspective, especially for a young person just starting to build their life. It's a message that says you don't have to wait for the world to tell you that you're worthy. You already are. You don't have to wait for the perfect circumstances to be happy. You can choose joy right now, in this moment. So, how can we start to apply this wisdom to our own lives, right now? Here are 3 simple, practical actions inspired by the book. 1. Start a What I'm Grateful For list. You don't need a fancy journal. Just a piece of paper or a note on your phone. For the next 7 days, before you go to sleep, write down 3 things from your day that you are genuinely grateful for. It could be as small as the taste of your morning coffee or a kind word from a stranger. This simple act retrains your brain to look for the good, and as Oprah says, what you focus on expands. 2. Ask, what is my intention? Just once a day for the next week, before you make a decision. Whether it's what to say in a difficult conversation, whether to say yes to a request, or even what to post online. Pause and ask yourself that one question: what is my real intention here? Am I acting from a place of love, truth, and self-respect, or from a place of fear, obligation, or a need for approval? This single question can bring incredible clarity to your choices. 3. Schedule an awe moment. Look at your schedule for tomorrow and carve out just 10 minutes for yourself. 10 minutes where you do something purely for the joy of it, with no other goal. It could be listening to your favorite album without distractions, taking a walk in nature, or simply sitting in silence and focusing on your breath. This is not a luxury, it's essential maintenance for your soul. It's a way of telling yourself that you matter. In the end, What I Know For Sure is more than a book. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to live a more conscious, more connected, and more courageous life. It's a reminder that every day, every moment, is a fresh start, a new opportunity to choose who you want to be. The most powerful question isn't what Oprah knows for sure. It's what do you know for sure? And the journey to answering that is the greatest adventure of all. That was our deep dive into What I Know For Sure by Oprah Winfrey. We've explored the highlights today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you hold the book in your hands and let the words speak to you directly. It's in the quiet moments, when a particular story or a simple phrase lands in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about today has stirred something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and your place in the world. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to continue building your own library of life-changing wisdom, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Here at Billionaire's Bookshelf, we're on a mission to unlock the greatest ideas from the world's most brilliant minds. Let's keep growing together.